Hey y'all, it's Texie. So I wanted to make this video to kind of go in detail about virus resistance, to kind of explain the mechanics behind it, try to get everybody on the same page. I know over, or not even over the last week, basically since we started capturing lands, people have been feeling left out or feeling like they're not contributing because we're just asking for, people who are over a certain level to participate in rallies, and then everybody else just like heat up and break the ice. And I don't want anybody feeling like they are, background characters or that they're not part of the team, because that is also a vital part of capturing these lands. It is not in any way to diminish anybody, to put down whatever work you've put into your squads, because we've all put in work. It doesn't matter if you're free to play, pay to play, if you are a whale, dolphin, orca, whatever marine animal you want to call yourself. It does not matter. We've all put in work to our particular squad. So this is not putting anybody down when we say we are looking for a certain level. This is literally the game mechanics. It is all math. That is like all it is. I promise you. I would never exclude anybody. If I could have all of y'all run rallies, I would. But that comes with troop loss. That comes with lots of resource loss that weakens us as an alliance with our power level. And if we don't have troops, we can't capture more land. We can't effectively do our other events like Martial Guard and Zombie Siege, Buster. We can't, you know, accurately help each other with Doom Elites. We can't do any of that if we are all depleted of troops. So it is not in any way to make anybody feel less than. It is the way the game is built at the end of the day. So now that I got that out the way, because I don't want anybody thinking that this is, a video saying you're not good enough or a video explaining why your particular squad can't join. I just want to explain the game mechanics. So our current boss that we need to take over is a level 4. That's our next capture. The level 4 bosses have 9,500 virus resistance. Let me actually back up. Each boss has a level of virus resistance that you need to meet and a suggested power that you need to meet as well. If you don't meet the virus resistance, then you need to at least meet that suggested power, or else you're not going to cause any damage, and vice versa. If you meet the virus resistance, you need to kind of, also match the power, or ain't no damage going to happen. Yesterday, it took us 30 minutes to take over a land, and we can't have that, because if something happens, anything can happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if something happens to where we're all racing for land because we got to get rare soil on the boards for the war zone, we're at a disadvantage if we're, taking the approach of letting anybody and everybody run rallies versus designated people that we know are going to cause damage. Um, is my camera moving? Okay, no, it's still the same. So back to the level 4 boss. Our level 4 boss has a required resistance of 9,500. The suggested power for that boss is 23 million. Now you would look at that and be like, oh, well, if they don't meet the virus resistance, then we have the, that's a little loud. If we don't meet the virus resistance, then we can at least beat the suggested power, right? We got people who are 25 million. You see that, you're like, oh, yeah, I can definitely beat the boss. But that's not how it works. This virus resistance acts as a, can I draw a shield? Yeah, we're gonna act like that's like a shield of some sort. I don't know what I just drew. That's a shield. Think of the virus resistance as a shield protecting that particular monster. It basically reduces the amount of damage that your squad will, have against that particular beast. So currently, the highest VR somebody has in our alliance is 7750. That 7750, we are, what's that, 1,750 VR points short. So we are 1,750 VR points short. There's a website, I'll link it when I link this video, but there's a website that'll show you your damage reduction with the current virus resistance level you're at and whatever boss that you're trying to attempt to beat. So it'll show you your current damage reduction. You'll take that, subtract it by 100, and what you get is your actual percentage of damage that you will be applying. So online it says our damage reduction at this virus resistance rate is 48%, meaning 62% of the actual squad power is going to do any type of damage to the boss. So now let's write that out in actual numbers. Wait a minute, did I answer all those questions? Actually, before I go into that, let's go over rally leaders and rally joiners, and then we'll get into how these numbers work. Rally leaders. Now, if the rally leader has the required resistance, that resistance will apply down to everybody. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a rally. Our rally leader has 7750. This person here has 7250, 5720. I'm just writing random numbers at this point. 4,000. Then we got another 7250. But all of that cancels out because then this applies down to everybody. Now, what if it's opposite? What if the rally leader only has 5250, but then we have somebody that's 7750 here, 6,000 here, 4,000 here, and then another 7250 here. This 7750 does not apply to the rest of the squad. It stays with that person. That doesn't mean that the 5250 then goes down and applies to everybody. That's not what that means. Basically, everybody then owns their own individual virus resistance. So then that person who's leading the rally will only attribute a certain amount of damage. The 7750 will attribute the most amount of damage, but that's not an effective squad. That's a lot of troop loss and no damage in a squad like this. So that's why when I say I need somebody, excuse me, that's why when I say I need somebody at a certain virus resistance, this is the reason why, because everybody in that squad is going to take on that highest resistance level. Another thing, we did find that the way that to join the rally does have some impact. So when you are joining the rally, there are hordes. I believe there are 5 hordes. So 1 horde for each person in that rally. So we got 1, that's the monster horde. I'm gonna just put rally person, monster horde. 2, monster horde. 3, monster horde. 4, monster horde. 5, monster horde. The first person in that rally, we want to be the strongest, and then have your second, third strongest, and fourth and fifth strongest at the bottom. Why? Because that first person, they're going to finish off that first monster horde. They may have enough to start the second. Then you got your second person, they're going to finish off that second monster horde, but then they may be strong enough to finish off that third one. And then you got your third person who can help with the fourth and then the fifth, and so forth like that. Then what happens is, if a horde can't be beat, let's say it gets to number 5 and they can't beat the horde completely, it goes down like that. It'll go back to the first person that was able to beat the horde, and then it'll start over again. So you have like multiple rounds. Each round, I believe, is a certain percentage of damage. I haven't gotten that far yet to figure out to break those numbers down, but I do know that damage required or revolves around that. So let's say you send a rally with all your heavy hands and you get like 2 rounds worth of wins out of the monster horde. You may get 8% damage because each round may be 4%. But then let's say you send a rally and it's like 1 heavy hand, but the rest are like people who are, 25, 24, 26, 27 million. That heavy hand is now responsible for a lot of damage. So versus having multiple people who can cause, multiple rounds of damage, that 1 heavy hand may only be able to cause 2% by themselves because the rest of the people can't kill off that monster horde in the battle report. If y'all want a more in detail video on the battle reports, I can do that. I'll probably do it after this, so that way y'all have like the visual to go with how I'm explaining it. But basically, rally leaders are important. Whoever joins the rally is important. So when I'm asking for reports in the chat, it is not to, again, I'm not putting anybody down. I'm not trying to put nobody on blast with a squad power, nothing like that. I need to see who's causing damage, where they're causing damage at, so we can line that rally up the way that we need to effectively. Now, back to the damage reduction part. So we got a squad. I'm just going to use all the heavies numbers so that way y'all can see it in real time. What I mean by this. So we got 7750. Our damage is reduced by 48%, meaning that our actual squad damage or our squad power is 62% of what it actually shows on paper. So we got sub. Sorry, Footlong. I don't mean to put you on blast like that. So on paper, his tank squad is 38.3 million. You're looking at that 23 million, you're like, shit, he can take it all day long. He can probably take the monster out in one hit. But when you add that 62% in, his squad power is actually 23.7 million. And that barely beats the threshold of the suggested power that we need. Now we got my squad power, 27.8 million. You're thinking, okay, I'm a little bit over. It may take me 2 or 3 hits to take it out. Wrong again. We got to multiply that by 62%. So then my squad power on paper says 27.8, but with the damage reduction, I'm actually only 17.2 million. So I'm under the suggested power, meaning that I need to probably be at the end of the pack so that way I can try to clear the rest of the horde out from what the big hands couldn't clear out. Then we got Sunny. What did it say? 31.5 million. Again, like sub, you're like, oh, he can take it out in one hit. Actually, he can't because I wrote that wrong. That 62% of that is 19 point, I put 19.5. Y'all don't check my numbers. I'm a sloppy writer, so I probably we're just gonna go with 19.5. He's under the 23 million. As I'm writing this out, we can kind of see what we're working up against. That sub is going to be the only person in that rally probably causing damage. Now, what happens if sub isn't the rally leader or is it somebody who has 7750? We then have to go through all of our squads or all of our people and find out who has the highest squad power compared to the VR resistance and who has the highest VR. So currently, that would be Michelle. And what is she at? So her squad, 30.2 million. But when it comes to the virus resistance, it is actually only 18.6. Again, these are just numbers. There's a website that'll tell you the damage reduction. You multiply that by your squad power, and that'll let you know whether or not you should be in that rally. Now, as our virus resistance climbs up, your damage reduction lessens, meaning that your actual squad power will match what is needed. Did I say power? I did say power. Sorry. So the higher it gets, the more everything starts to meet in the middle. But since we are so far off from what we need, it's working against us. So Michelle leading the rally at 18.6 million. She may not cause damage, meaning sub would need to be the second person in that rally to try to cause damage. But then we got the rest of us who may not cause any type of damage at all, or maybe if Sunny were to follow sub, he could probably clear out another horde, which may be like, another 2% of damage. Either way it goes, that rally is going to take a long time, or that capture is going to take a long time because we are chipping away at the monster little by little by little. Now, I know your next question. Well, why don't we wait? Why don't we just wait till our VR is as close to what we need? Like I mentioned before, we are in a race against other war zones to get our rare soil accumulation up. So it's not just our war zone in 2065. It's not just each alliance against each other. I don't want to say it that way. It's not just us trying to, get into position with the land captures to make sure we are, where we need to be. We're also racing against other war zones to get into a certain position on the board. That matters when it comes to the rare soil wars because factions come into play. That's a whole nother thing. I don't want to go into the factions. It stresses me out just thinking about it. Just know that the number matters. And the way that we look with other war zones is going to determine whether they want to pair themselves or align themselves with us, or if they see us as easy pickings. Just think of it that way. If we're number 8 on the board out of a total of 8 factions, everybody's coming for us because they're like, oh shit, they're not collecting their rare soil at a quick rate. They're not strong enough. Let's take advantage of them. Kind of like how we tried to do with 2055. We ain't gonna go into season 1. I don't want to talk about season 1 either. But we're trying to get these lands captured as quickly as possible to get our names up on the board with the war zone and to also get into place so that way we don't have any issues. We can kind of game plan our defense attack strategy. Breaking ice and warming other bases. That is not a background character job. That is important because if we are below negative 20 degrees Celsius, it starts to affect the morale and the I don't think it affects our damage or our durability damage that we're able to apply, but it does start to affect our troop morale. Now, when you look at reports, like the PvP reports, it'll show you at the very bottom, like, oh, red side was 1.132 or 1.13% more morale than blue side. So red contributed 113% more damage. Morale matters. So when I have y'all raise the temperature up to 40 degrees Celsius, it's because we get a 5% morale boost for those people in the rally and the rally leader. So that's even more damage we're able to apply to the monster at that time. What else did I write down? Okay, so we went over breaking the ice. I explained what the VR is, how it affects rally leaders versus rally joiners, the damage buff, how it affects your power. Let's go back to joining a rally. So let's say that you're on a rally and you are in it with like 4 other heavy hands. That's cool. That's great and all. I understand people want to join in and, contribute. But just think of it this way. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got a heavy hand, heavy hand, heavy hand, heavy hand, semi heavy hand. All the damage that could have been done is now basically we're missing a spot where damage could have been taken. And I apologize if that's harsh. I don't mean to make it come off as harsh, but again, we are a race against time. The longer it takes for us to capture these things, the further behind we are with other war zones and the further we're behind with our own alliance furnace, upgrading itself because it's all based on rare soil accumulation. Whatever you grab at that time is what you start accumulating with per hour. So every hour that we don't have a level 4, that's, I think it's an extra 200 rare soil units per hour. But that's what it's starting to come down to, like our accumulation and things like that. Again, there's videos on that. I can't really explain it that well without going into like a 4-hour or a Netflix 10-part series. But what you need to know is it is not a dig at anybody on the team. Everybody is valued. Y'all are all doing amazing. Y'all are all contributing in different ways, whether you're breaking the ice, heating people up, starting a rally, being part of the rally, being a heavy hand, being somebody on standby to kind of play around with the rally setup to see who's effectively causing damage. Everybody has a part. I don't want anybody to think that this is what it is for the whole thing. This is just what it is right now. Again, as we start getting closer in resistance, which we're going to start doing, I think, eventually, because it taps out at 10K. So we're going to start getting closer in resistance where more people can start leading rallies on their own and, helping to take over land captures and things like that. But as of right now, this is just how it has. I hate to say how it has to be. As of right now, this is just what it is because of the game mechanics. We are working against the game mechanics. And if we start having people who aren't where we need to be trying to lead rallies or trying to lead captures, we are not going to be in a good spot. So I'm just asking y'all to have just a little bit of patience with us as we work through these kinks as we get these captures. I know the city captures aren't as, I guess, fun, but the higher the city, the more damage that you have to cause, and that does take a lot, of people to do that for. So if y'all have any questions, any concerns, y'all want me to go in detail about something else regarding virus resistance, ask. But I don't want anybody to feel left out. Please don't feel like you are, again, a background character. This is just the math and the game mechanics. We're working against two things: virus. I don't know if that last part cut out. My microphone went dead. Long story short, let me know if y'all have any additional questions. Again, we're working against damage reduction, virus resistance, and the suggested power of the monster. These are just the game mechanics. So hopefully this video kind of helped break it down a little bit for y'all to kind of understand it a little bit more. And y'all know where to find me if y'all need anything.